And we're live. Hello, everybody. Sorry, we're a bit late. Same problem with internet being terrible. So Becky is actually downstairs today, but she's plugged into the LAN, so she's definitely not going to die or anything like that, and I should be fine as well. So I think we should start off, first of all, with a little introduction for those who have forgotten from last week who are watching who the characters are. So from the right, let's go from the right today. Let's start with Ronald.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ronnie. I am playing Sheriff Dominic Hollander, who he's a former New York detective. He's now the local sheriff in this small town. And if last week's offering is anything to go by, I have a feeling that Sheriff Hollander may very well go the way of my corporation character and become absolutely psychotic. But, you know, or like fluffy bunnies. It's one of the two. It could go either way at this point.
Yes, but as we know, Watership Down is extremely disturbing. Moving on to Phil.
Good evening. I'm playing Kulinski. He's a middle-aged ex-con trying to go straight. He's boosted a few cars in his time. He's done a bit of time, and he's now trying to get his life back on track. He's helping out in a local store and trying to avoid all the bad things that are starting to happen.
Excuse me. And last but by no means least, Becky.
Well, I'm still trying to get my character sheet to load, but from what I remember, I think my name's Helen Munroe, and I here am the shopkeeper of a little small-town grocery store. So you all know me, I all know you. So let's have a whale of a time together and talk about stuff that we would talk about and things.
Well, speaking of which, that's a sort of nice transition into the first scene. We're actually going to skip forward by about 48 hours from when you last left each other as you walked your separate ways into the calmness of the dawn. There has been snowfall. Nothing too major, but there has been a nice sort of sprinkle of white across Nellisford. And the scene begins in the local community centre. You are all quite sort of bundled in your coats and your scarves, and there's quite a kerfuffle going on. There are several discussions trying to, speak out and get the loudest so it can be heard the best about what to do about the situation at hand. And you see the local pastor up the top on a podium trying to calm everybody down. But you are aware as well, as is everybody else, that Katie has gone missing. There are certain locals who at the bar who talk about things like, oh, it might be a guy who's taken her off somewhere, or a boyfriend. There are other people who say it could be something completely different. She might have fallen somewhere or gotten lost. But of course, you know that potentially it could be a very different reason indeed, given what you witnessed, or did you witness a couple of days before?
Well, I gotta ask you, GM, that largely depends on, is my shop ransacked by the things I witnessed, or is it okay?
So, very, very briefly, when you'd return to your shop, to your houses, etc., they all seem in order. The only thing really that's changed is the snowfall.
So I'll get on at the CB radio that I borrowed off of Deputy Daniels, and I'll check in with the sheriff that evening to make sure that the prison is now okay, or whether he's still spooked out by
it. Yes, I will be at the sheriff's office. I have laid down a mandatory requirement that body armor, including bulletproof vests, and should be worn at all times. Even in the office, I don't care if it doesn't look fashionable. I want it worn. How is my police station looking? My sheriff's office looking? I mean, I take it everything is...
Again, being brief, it seems okay. There's a slight sort of eeriness about it, probably more to do with the trauma you experienced whilst there, more than anything. But to bear in mind, you only became aware of Katie being missing basically that morning when everyone woke up, and you're now sort of coming together in this community centre.
Say, Sheriff, is Deputy Daniel still shot, or is he okay?
He's fine. He's fine.
What, as in he was never shot after all?
Well, a lot of things appear to have never have happened.
Well, what does he say about that? Does he remember being shot?
No.
No one seems to remember anything bar us, it would appear.
It's like we shared a dream.
That is rather peculiar. Now, I just have a little thought, and it's a little bit out there, but seems all those involved are those that spoke to Katie that night about the necklace.
Yes, I think that's as good a theory as any right now.
You don't suppose she spiked our drinks, do you?
I can't see why she would have done that.
I bloody hope not. I'm teetotal.
Well, how much whiskey will you drink if you weren't teetotal?
I don't even want to go there.
You see the pastor, he's sort of trying to calm everybody down, and he gets there a little bit. He said, now listen, I know that lots of you know her, and I'm sure we will find her very, very soon. There are lots of ideas, which is good, but we need to think practically here. And as I'm sure my colleague over here will tell you, that we need to think calmly and clearly and rationally. And you notice somebody who you don't recognize, actually, who's not potentially from round here, who just sort of just does a little smirk and sort of nods his head politely. He's wearing sort of smart casual suit and a tie.
Yeah, I'll wait till after the meeting.
Why don't we go around the room and get the best ideas so far? In fact, Sheriff, and you realize that he's only just noticed you. Sheriff, have you managed to gain any kind of information at all about Katie?
I go to the front of the community center.
You up. There's like a little
little podium,
microphones.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the investigation is still in its early stages. I would ask everyone, please be calm. If you have any information, please contact either myself or one of my deputies. Anything at all. Let us worry about whether or not it's particularly relevant.
Sheriff, I've got a question.
Yes, Miss Munroe?
Well, it occurs to me, is it true that if somebody's not found in the first 24 hours, they're unlikely to...
It's usually the first 48.
It's just expired.
Comforting thought there.
You hear a bit of sort of panic from behind you. Has there been a body discovered yet? Do we know she's still alive?
Unless I have information or evidence to say otherwise, I am working on the assumption that she is very much alive.
And the pastor nods and says, absolutely, we need to think positively here. And in fact, we need to be proactive and help the sheriff and his posse He sort of looks as if like trying to be with the with the times and the lingo.
I kind of look at him and say, I sort of put the mic down so no one can hear, and I say, Pastor, you just managed to sound out of date and out of time in one phrase there.
Yes, I realized as I said it, but anyway, and he kind of takes the mic from you and says, but anyway, I want you to split into groups of 10, and we're going to choose several directions to start moving in. We need to be proactive. We need to do a search before the snow gets any worse.
Everyone, please pay attention. Listen. Each group will have either myself or one of my deputies at the head of it. If you see anything, do not touch it. Alert either myself or the deputy, whoever is in the group, and let them deal with it. Okay? Look, alert us, do not touch it. All right?
You hear, as you say this, the two of you who are still sitting down, you hear somebody whispering to somebody else behind you. And they say, I wonder if it's that crazy boyfriend of hers. I heard something yesterday that there might have been a breakout.
I'll lean back over the chair and say, I heard that somebody saw her near the lake. We should dredge the lake.
Oh, yes. We should dredge the lake. It's very cold. She might have fallen in the ice. Just completely stealing your thunder there.
Whilst I am quite prepared to look at the possibility of mounting some sort of search of the waterways, we require specialist equipment to do so. That specialist equipment is en route, but we may not see it for several days. Meanwhile, we're checking the land area immediately around our town. As for the rumor regarding a break-in or breakout, we are following up that rumor to see whether there's any substance to it. Thank you, everyone. Please go to your assigned groups. Thank you.
But there could be loads of them out all in the wild. They could be lunatics.
In this town, they probably won't register. Just find your group.
So people start sort of getting up, and there's a little bit. Although from where you are, Dominic, you can see much more, and you notice that.
Right, you actually froze there for about 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So what I was saying was everyone sort of gets up and starts shuffling out. For those of you who are down in the seats, it takes a while for people to get out, for you to move. But Dominic, you see much more of a view from where you are. And you notice that the pastor is obviously waiting around, presumably to wait for everyone to exit the building. But you also see the other man who he, mentioned lingering.
I'll go up to him.
Oh, good morning, Sheriff. You must be the sheriff, right? I'm assuming. Well, yes, of course. You have the badge and everything. I'm a city type, so not always familiar with the local badges.
And who might you be, other than being a friend to our reverend here?
Oh, my apologies. My name is Joshua Schreiber. I am a fellow pastor of his.
Ooh.
I know I'm not obviously in the garb, but I'm not leading worship today. But we had actually organized a meeting of several of the churches nearby to talk about the community and how we can improve it.
Was there anything substantial come out of the meeting?
Well, we haven't had it yet. We're
When
due
is
to
it?
have it, and he sort of looks at his watch. Oh, actually, it'll be that one because he's right-handed. It was supposed to be 3 o'clock today, but with the search party, I'm not sure that will happen now. It might have to be postponed.
Oh, I think it may very well be postponed. I have this. I have this feeling, and at this point, I sort of put my arm around the pastor's shoulder. You know, I have a feeling that you and the other spiritual leaders of our community are going to be up to their necks in helping us find our young lady, doing your civic duty and all that. What do you say?
He looks a little bit taken aback, as if he was hoping not to actually pull much weight with regard to this, but he's diplomatic and sort of nods and says, yes, of course, anything to help your pastor.
Fantastic. You can be in my group. I pick you. It's like the schoolyard, isn't it? It's wonderful. Right, you're with me. I sort of signal the deputies to sort of come over. Okay, it looks like we're going to get a little extra help from some of the local church heads. I want one each to each. I want one each on each group.
You see your own pastor actually come up and say, "Oh, fantastic! Fantastic that Pastor Schreiber is wanting to get involved."
What can I say? I appeal to his better nature.
Exchange.
What for a change, babe?
Just a little scowl, just exchanged from that remark. And what do you want your own pastor, Pastor Burnett, to do?
He is going to go with Deputy Daniel's group.
Okay, he wraps up and gets ready with the deputy.
All right, everyone. Please remember, if you see anything, find anything, do not touch it. Do not stand on it, sneeze on it. Just hold your hand up. Alert us. We'll deal with it. Okay? Let's go.
You sort of hear unanimous sort of, yes, Sheriff.
Should we tell the sheriff everyone's left the room?
Well, let's say it happens when you kind of step outside and everyone's...
Yeah, I'm just going with the momentum.
In fact, yes, when you get outside, it is considerably colder than it was on the night of the hurricane. The snow has settled, a few inches of it, so it's not, treacherous. It's manageable, but you do have to wrap up for this. It's actually quite pretty. It's making the forest look really sort of magical and sparkly almost with the white, and it hasn't snowed now for a while. You don't think the weather's going to get worse, at least for a few hours, so you've got sort of a nice window.
Did the snow happen? Did the start of the snow happen before or after she was reported missing?
I would say about 6 to 12 hours before.
Right. Shit. Okay, this has just made our job a little harder because nice things like footprints are going to be a lot harder to find in freshly laid snow and so on. But, bugger. That well-known well-known American expression, bugger.
Sheriff, can I have a word with you in private, please? Maybe with Kyle, because he was there too.
Yes.
What you need, Helen?
Well, it's about after the events of that night. Kyle and I happened across the young lady's flat. I'm just checking my notes. Hang on. Happened across Katie's house, and it had been burgled, and there was blood smears on the porchways. Now, I'm not sure if that's something else that apparently didn't happen, but you remember it, don't you, Kyle?
Certainly do. Definitely blood on the pillar of the porch outside.
the downstairs had been ransacked. So, and I maybe happened to open the letter that was meant for Katie. It had just 2 words, Antarctica and Niagara. Now, Antarctica was on the letter that Katie said about. It's just that it added Niagara.
See, this is why the investigation is ongoing. That's an interesting new lead for me to follow. Deputy Daniels.
Yes, sir.
You're my most experienced deputy, sir, and you're going to have a nice big group of people.
Okay, that's fine.
I need to check a lead. I'm going to go to the house.
All right, where do you want us to go, sir?
Check the map. I want this entire area immediately around the town combed. Given that there were supposed sightings around the lake, place special attention around the lake.
All right, we'll head up there in a minute, but probably best at the moment to check on the highway.
Yes.
Did Katie have a car at all, Sheriff?
No, she hasn't got a car.
Okay. I will require these 2 witnesses to come with me.
As in...
Sure.
Yeah.
No problem. There is one of the other pastors with me as well. Pastor Best, I believe he's called. Shall I keep an eye on him?
Yeah. That
What denomination are all these pastors?
Well, all the pastors, including your own, are Southern Baptist. You're muted, darling.
Well, I got married in St. Mary's Immaculate Church in 1964. Because I put that in my backstory, and I'm damn well not giving it up.
You said most of them are Southern Baptist. Are there any there that aren't Southern Baptist?
Well, to be honest, in terms of their denominations, they're either Southern Baptist or some other sort of similar evangelist, you think? As in, then they're not dramatically different. It's not like a couple of Sikhs in with the Christians or anything.
Yeah. I get I make sure, without making any sort of big deal about it, I go to one of my other male deputies.
Okay.
And say, right, you're going to have Pastor Best with you. Make sure he sticks with you, and for God's sake, don't leave him alone with any of the women. We're not having that argument again.
Sure.
There's enough problems with that last year. We're not having that again. His case is still pending.
Okay, so the big group, you see them...
You're not going to have me with an 80s evangelist and not say something was up.
No, indeed. So the community centre is... I'm going to pick a location for it. It's not quite as high up the hill as the Stony Creek grill and all that, but it's nearby. So you see everybody sort of start trudging down the hill towards the highway, where they're going to start combing. There's a couple of other groups, one of which starts heading nearish in the direction of the lake. The other one starts going off to near the actual creek itself, which is on the other side.
Yeah. I leave it in the hands of my deputies to sort of work out which, how far they want the distance between each searcher to be.
Given the length of time, they're spreading out quite far, but bear in mind that Nellisford is quite a small area. It takes a little while to walk around it, but in terms of general area, it's sort of a few miles wide, unless you go out sort of further afield. So they're stuck.
So yeah, well, I'm driving to the house with my 2 friends.
Okay, so just to remind you where the house is, it's further down the highway, so towards the resort and Rockfish Valley, where there's all these sort of walks and hiking trails and things like that. But as you head down, the trails are all covered in snow at the moment. No one seems to want to venture up there for obvious reasons. But in any case, you head down to the next little suburb, which is where Katie's house is, as is the surgery, and where you were previously that night. As you approach Katie's house, there is sort of a nice coating of snow on the porch banisters and the steps. It seems a little quiet, like a bit too quiet.
This is where I saw the blood smear. Is it still there?
So you head up the steps and you have to scrape a bit of snow out of the way as to where you think you remember the blood smear being. And, well, it's not a blood smear, but can you make me maybe a library use roll?
All of us, or just
Helen for the moment, because she's
okay.
I left my dice upstairs with the other computer.
I'm gonna have so many dice when this Kickstarter finally arrives. It's gonna be insane. Would you like to? Do you want to borrow this set? Okay. It's hormones. In fact, yeah, whichever's the best. You can make either library use or natural world.
Well, the default for library use is slightly higher.
Okay.
That would be a failure.
Okay.
A question: do you tick the skill if you fail or if you pass?
No. Just if you pass.
Okay.
Sorry, pass. Yeah, it's definitely not blood. It's either it's changed or maybe you just saw it wrong last night. It's got a bit of a weird sort of navy blue tinge to it.
Oh, I say, that's not as I recall it. Kyle?
Well, it was dark, but no, it did look like blood. I wouldn't have said it was blue, certainly.
Other than our footprints, obviously, are there any other footprints in the snow around the house?
So after, I'm not going to let you roll for this. You do sort of a few minutes just of the small area, and you do see a couple of really faint footprints as if they've been filled in again by the snow.
Leading to water away.
Away?
How sort of big do they look?
Well, she's either got quite big feet or it's somebody else.
That could be a man's footprint then.
Yeah. I gently check the front door to see if it opens.
It does open.
I pull my gun.
Don't you knock first?
I'm not going to knock.
Right.
I'm not sure what I would do if I heard someone say, "Come in." Given that the occupant is supposedly missing.
Does it look as messy as when we were there the night before? Well,
that's a good question. As you slowly move into the room, or the first room, which, as you remember, was absolutely torn apart. There was furniture strewn everywhere. There was papers. There was bric-a-brac. It is fairly intact. There's only a couple of things that may seem out of place, but then you're not sure if they've just been moved around from general use.
Ah, Thought it was worse than this, didn't you, Helen?
Absolutely. It's either been tidied up or it was part of the thing we imagined. And Katie seems wrapped up in that somehow.
It was an awful mess from what I remember.
Myself also.
I'd like you both to wait at the door there, please.
Sure.
Just for
And
the
I pull
moment.
out my Beretta.
Just for the moment. Jayson, I'm going to do a sweep of the house.
Okay.
You know the thing.
I do know the thing. How would you like to do the thing? Because are we talking carefully? Are you wanting to sort of get through it quite quick to make sure it's clear?
Oh no, I've been a New York police detective too long to do the rush job thing. This is a slow, steady sweep of the house, downstairs at the very least, to see if I can clear that, and then I'll think about upstairs.
Okay, now normally a DM would ask for an investigation roll in this instance, but I'm going to do something a little bit different. Can you roll me a listen check, please, Dominic?
No, I'm hearing fuck all.
Okay. So
To put it bluntly.
when you do a sweep of the downstairs, everything seems fairly normal. There are things that you can tell have been used quite recently. So you can see there's, thank you, Becky. There's sort of a dirty plate. You can see that there's yet to be washed. There are a couple of bits of food sort of left out as well. As you go up the stairs, though, the stairs creak quite a lot, which kind of drown out any other potential noise in the house. So as soon as you get to the top of the stairs, you suddenly feel something run over your foot. Something quite big. And
Point the gun down.
When you jump back a little bit, you think sort of this big, some kind of rat or a ferret or something. It sort of does that at you, and it sort of runs down the stairs, to which the other two see it as well. The first thing, well, the glimpse of it you notice is it didn't really have a very normal-looking face. It doesn't have the sort of pointy nose. It was almost like a kind of a strange caricature of a human head.
Did she have a cat?
She never told me about no cat. That looks more like a ferret to me.
I don't think that's a cat somehow.
You see it run out of the house.
What sort of colour was it?
Well, kind of this colour, sort of just a dull brown.
I continue my sweep.
Strange.
Yeah, so another thing you hear now that you're up the stairs, you hear the sound of a dripping coming from the bathroom. When you open it, you realise that the tap is still dripping. It's not been turned off properly. In fact, the bathroom is a little bit of a mess.
Oh, I take it the plug's still in the bath.
This was in the sink, not the bath.
Take it the plug's still in there.
Yes, the plug is still in there.
Yeah.
There's a bit of standing water.
Step through gingerly and sort of turn the tap off and release the plug and jeez, oh.
Okay. Can you make me a spot hidden roll when you do that?
I'd like to not make spot hidden rolls. I'm a detective. I can't do spot hidden. That's annoying. So what's it? What right? Just to remind me of the other two numbers, the half and the fifth.
They are for
terminology.
hard success and an extreme success.
Right. Well, that's a hard. That is a hard success. It was one off being an extreme.
Or you can deplete your luck if you want to make an extreme.
I think I will actually. I'll take 1 point off, and that'll give me an extremely good spot hidden.
Okay.
Don't see anything.
Don't see a damn thing.
Downstairs, so it's not good. Okay, so what I'll do, because you rolled an extreme, I'll give you time to react to this. But basically, when you pull the plug up and the water starts going down, you actually see that something very small, like maybe a piece of paper that's been sort of folded very carefully, has actually been placed underneath the plug hole.
I'll have a grab at that.
So you grab it before it gets too wet.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. That. I'm kind of holding it at a corner and trying to shake the damn thing dry. Which is a silly thing to do, of course, but you know.
Yeah. So it rolls out into about this size piece of paper. It's like a little receipt size, maybe like a little memo note. Okay. And it's got something scrawled on it, which just bear with me because I need to make sure I know how to pronounce this. I'll put it in the chat as well because seriously. No, it wasn't. It's fucking bus ticket. Jesus, you had me worried then. So the first two words on the piece of paper you recognize, although these have been handwritten. The first is Antarctica. The second is Niagara.
Right.
And the third one is Der Datorgugfer.
What?
I'll have a vowel, please.
Der Datorgugfer. And that's in the chat.
Yeah.
In fact, the first time around, it's actually been crossed out and written again as if they've sort of spelt it wrong.
Oh my god. Del Dartagulfa.
Del Datungfer.
When we do eventually see that, I will suggest that it has been gotten wet.
Yeah, it actually says Derby. Or Darlington or something.
The rest of the bathroom, it looks like things have been moved around. Things sort of like toiletries. You can see as well, sort of toilet paper, sort of a bit messy. Apart from that, no, nothing massively out of the ordinary. Until you open the medicine cabinet. You notice there is a small bottle of pills that has been opened, and there are pills sort of strung all over the shelves.
What does the pills, the box medicine say that it's what kind of pills they are?
Do you have first aid?
Yes, I do.
Well, you can make me a roll.
That would be an extreme success.
Oh, very nice. So at first glance, it's a little bottle of aspirin. But you look at the pills that are sort of all over the shelves and think that those aren't just aspirin. That's not quite right. They're the wrong sort of shape, that kind of thing. So when you actually look at the pill, you realize it's actually a type of morphine.
I delicately place a few of the tablets back into the bottle, put the lid back on the bottle, and pocket the bottle. I don't want to take them all because I've got a feeling, that'll take all day, and I only need a couple of them for evidence and examination and so on.
Okay. The other rooms are not so interesting, although the bedroom does shine a little bit of light on possibly the situation as well. You see that the bed has been slept in recently. In fact, the quilt is sort of folded back as if it hasn't been made again for the day. There is a small desk by the window, and there's quite a lot of sort of writing paper, and there's a couple of bits of paper that are actually sort of scrooched up.
Okay. Is there any writing paper there that isn't scrunched up, that has writing on it?
Yeah, there is one that's sort of...
Right. I want to check the note that I found under the plug, which just sounds wrong when I say it that way. Especially after flipping... especially after that post from Becky. I want to see if the handwriting matches.
Okay. Can you, probably the best one for this, make me a language own roll?
Okay. Yes, made that.
Okay. The three words on the wet paper are in block capitals, but you do notice, especially from the first letters of each of them, that it is the same handwriting as on the pad.
Okay. Okay. I want to start looking at the scrunched up paper now as well to see if there's anything.
Yeah. So again, same handwriting. It appears to be the start of a letter that is written to Benjamin.
Okay. I want to get all the scrunched up ones. And sort of flatten them as much as possible so I can fold and place them all in one pocket.
Yeah, sure.
In fact, even better, as it's a writing desk, does she have envelopes?
Yeah, I'll say there are a couple in a drawer.
Right, I'll take one and sort of put the notes in and sort of use that as well. I mean, I already know my grubby fingerprints are all over it, but stop anyone else's. And continue my search of the rest of the first floor.
Well, as I said, really the bedroom is the last sort of significant place where you see anything. Everything else just looks fairly normal, like it's been used recently, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay. Quilt folded up only on one side of the bed?
Yeah.
Does she have any other sort of waste paper baskets, in the bedroom?
No.
Right. Okay. Okay. So no other signs.
Say, Kyle, the sheriff's taking his time. Should we go check the kitchen? A, make sure no one's been here lately, and B, make ourselves a nice cup of tea?
Well, we could do something like that. If there's anyone been here, the signs will be in the kitchen. So
that's what I figured. Sorry, coffee. I forgot I'm American.
Tea, God. Yeah, so
I'm not paying the tax on that.
Yeah.
no.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm heading downstairs now that's been...
Yeah. So as you head
That's
down, you hear the sound of a kettle whistling away. As the two are making some coffee. Again, for the two of you, as Dominic saw, that there's a couple of signs that things have been used recently. Like there are a couple of dirty plates. There's sort of half a pat of butter left out. But apart from that, there's nothing really out of the ordinary here.
On the dirty plates, is the stuff on the plate is actually dry? If you walk your finger through it, is it dry or is it still...
Yeah, it is mostly dry. You think it might have been, you can sort of smell strawberry jam.
So did you say butter had been left out?
Yeah, pat of butter.
Pat what?
A pat of butter.
Okay, and how melted is it?
Well, bear in mind it is cold outside, so the answer is not very much.
Okay, I'm going to check. Let's check the fridge. How much food is in there?
Well, there's a little bit, although you think back to the type of job she does, and think that she might get quite a lot of her evening meals actually at the grill after a shift. But yeah, there's some sort of breakfast, bit of milk in there.
Is the milk...
Go on.
Okay, is there anything that looks like leftovers? Because I want to see what condition the leftovers are in.
Yeah, you see there's like a plate with some cling film over it, and it's got some like little sort of fried barbecue chickens in there, like little chicken legs.
Okay, I'll take one out, have a look at it, sniff it, test how hard it is.
How hard?
Well, yeah, because food that's been in there too long will have...
I couldn't quite tell if you were saying hot in like American hot.
No, sorry, I forgot I'm American. Let me put the accent back on, so we all know where we're standing. So if I could just check the condition of that food and make sure, of course, this isn't a very good American accent. An American would probably be offended if they sounded like this or thought somebody thought that they sounded like this. Nonetheless, this is how I sound when I'm trying to be an American that's not offensive. So if I could just check the state of the food, that it's, not too dried up and stuff, because it's leftovers, how long's it been, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, there isn't really a skill for this, but being someone who's a shopkeeper, you do have a fairly good idea of the age of food, at least, educated guesses and so on. You notice...
Also, I cook.
Yes, that's true. So there are 3 intact chicken legs in total. One of them has been eaten and just the bone is left. So the ones that are left, they've been sort of marinated in barbecue. They are they're in that sort of rubbery stage, so you think they're a couple of days old.
Okay. Well, that's not been touched for a few days.
No, it doesn't look like it. I'll check the bin if I can.
Check the bin, okay. Yeah, there's like a sort of a trash can just outside the back.
Yeah. See what's on the top.
I'm having trouble understanding right now. Please try a little later.
Can you shut that thing up?
Alexa, set volume 1. Oh, I'll tell you what, why don't I just press the mute button?
Okay, so you head out and there's trash can, like a metal trash can there. Can you make me a listen roll, please, Kyle?
A listen roll, yes, I certainly will.
As Alexa decided that she was going to GM part of that session there and didn't understand what you were doing with the trash cans.
Obviously. That's a fail by quite a way.
All right, so you lift, like, how quickly do you lift the lid off?
Just normal, just not in a hurry, just
normal. Okay. So as you do so, you see this thing jump towards you, and you feel something on your face, and there's some kind of scratching.
Like I cry out. Ow!
Okay.
It's quite a big thing.
I did waving around with the trash lid in my hand.
I did establish earlier that I had pulled my Beretta out. Now, I assume I would have put it back down on the kitchen side as I come into the kitchen and start nosing through things. So I immediately pick it back, whatever's screaming.
So you see Kyle is taking the lid off the trash can, and another one of these weird rats, but bigger this time, has basically jumped onto his face and started clawing at it. Can you make me a fighter brawl roll, please?
I can. Oh, I can't. Oh. Okay, and that is an 18 against a 34. So that's just outside of horror.
Okay, that's fine. So what I'll say is you do manage to pull it off, but it does have these quite sort of long nails that do tear into you.
Yeah.
So as you rip it off, you take you take 1 HP of damage. You sort of get these sort of scratches on your face. You throw it off and it hits the trash can and it runs off. The same sort of weird, slightly human, uncanny valley looking face on it.
Can I sort of tell which direction it went in?
Yeah, so there's like outside the back, it's a lot more spacious. There's some more hills, like sort of small hills. So it kind of runs off down a little path towards the road.
Okay. Oh God! Did anyone see that thing? Oh,
I saw it. I'm pointing a bloody gun at it.
It disappears out of sight.
Just a quick question. Did our HP heal from Tentacle Nado Night?
Oh, I'll say yes, it did, because you did have a couple of days to rest.
It certainly wasn't a cat.
It was like a giant ferret.
What was was it sort of like quite long fur, or was it fairly short?
Oh, well, basically it was more the size of a ferret, although this one was bigger. But in terms of the actual fur, definitely much more like a rat, so very, very short.
Yeah, it's strange. It's almost a half rat, half ferret.
It's a short-haired ferret or something. Or maybe a raccoon that's really small.
I'll dab it at my face for the scratches. I'll get some water on this in a minute. I'll go back into the kitchen.
You want to get some TCP?
I thought TCP was an English thing. Maybe not.
On that.
So when you dab like this, you see like a bit of blood. Can you make me a sanity roll, please?
Sanity roll. Oh dear. What is my sanity? Oh dear.
No. TCP's definitely American. Aretha Franklin sung about it.
Okay.
Fail.
It's a fail.
That's a 99.
Oh. Is it now?
It is, yes.
Oh dear. That's basically a fumble. Okay.
This shit just got real.
Right. So I'm quite pleased I got this this deck, although I haven't opened it, so it's like can't open it. But in the meantime, yeah, can you roll me a D10, please?
A D10.
Oh, come on.
A 4.
A 4. Okay. So you look at, you sort of glance at your blood because you realize that there's a bit coming out, and it's very dark blue, almost black.
My
And
blood's
you feel like you have to wash it off immediately. Like
okay,
right,
I'll run into the kitchen, both taps on the sink, and whatever soap or dish soap is there, I'll just start splashing up over my face.
Okay.
Gotta get it off. Ah!
And
Damn it, Carl, you'll put a water bill up.
and you sort of scrub it off, but you sort of check, and there's more coming out. You've still got to get the rest of it
blue.
off.
It's not. I can't get it off. And I'll just keep washing face and washing.
And you realise that you have to run more water because there's not enough water. But then the water starts running dark blue.
I'll stagger back from the sink.
Do I see dark blue water coming out of the tap?
No, the rest of you can't.
What's wrong with the water? Why is it,
calm down.
Why is it blood? Why is it blood?
It was just a little animal.
What?
Kyle?
You're not liking the sound of Helen's voice. It's like she's trying to trick you.
I don't believe any of you. Get away from me. I'll start backing towards the wall.
Okay, I'm going to holster my Beretta, go up to, and I'm going to slap him across the face.
Okay. As she slaps you in the face, Kyle, she gets a little bit of blood on her hand, which is also blue.
Oh, it's on you. You've got the blue blood on you.
Blue blood? Kyle, we kicked royalty out of this country hundreds of years ago.
It's the blood from that thing.
I look at my hand. Has it got blood on? And presumably it's red if it has.
You've got, yeah, like a little tiny speck of red blood on you.
Yeah, I'm going to turn and run to the door and try and...
Ridiculous.
You feel
Right.
like just washing your face isn't enough. It's like you need to sort of cleanse yourself.
I'm going to run to the front door. I'm going to throw open the front door. I'm going to run out and start handfuls of snow onto my face.
Jayson,
Mm-hmm.
I feel that I require, as he's running past me, to immediately apply a policeman's sedative to him.
Which is the bonking on the head. Yes.
Yeah.
Nightstick.
No, I got my gun out still. I've
Oh.
still got you're about to get pistol thumped.
Because of the way Kyle is reacting, which is quite sort of sudden movements and things like that, I wouldn't mind each of you making me an opposed fighting brawl roll, please. Because if Kyle sees you coming at him with that gun, he's not going to like it. It proves his point that they're all against you.
I knew it.
Oh, God.
I made an extreme check.
Okay. Okay, what about you, Carl?
Oh, you want me to do one? Sorry. I got a 49, which is a fail.
Okay, yeah. So even though you're kind of flaying around quite a bit and trying to get the snow on you, you've seen this before. You've seen people go a little bit, loopy every so often.
Yeah.
Dominic. So yeah, you get them pretty easily, and
Well, I'm just kneeling in the snow, just grabbing handfuls of it. And...
yeah. And the world is quiet once again.
What can I say? When all else fails, just a small dab of police brutality.
Well, I didn't know that man had such a strong phobia of raccoons.
I know. I mean, we all hate that fucking cartoon, but I mean, to really have a phobia to that degree,
What?
that's a definite long shot, sort of pop culture reference. That one.
Are you referring to Guardians of the Galaxy? Is that the only raccoon cartoon I know? Okay, that killed the mood. Let's move on.
Conversation killer.
So yes, you've knocked him out. He falls into the snow. You hear sort of a couple of birds in the distance.
Why do birds suddenly appear
Sheriff,
every time?
I can't handle you going crazy too. Do I have to pull my gun out and pistol whip you? Because I gotta tell you, I only know how to use the bullet end.
Calm down. I'm perfectly fine. So's he. Well, he's a lot less manic at the moment. He's a lot less of a lot at the moment, but he's a lot less manic. Help me get him to the car.
All right, we should go check out the mental hospital and see if Kata's boyfriend is still there. I believe his name was Ben.
Yes, I think we should head there. We can always think about putting Kyle in there if need be. Right, I put Kyle in the back seat.
Okay. So are you going to drive sort of straight off to Charlottesville? Are you going to...
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to try and stem the bleeding from my head in any sort of way, or?
You're not bleeding from your head.
okay.
You've got a small contusion. I have merely provided the services of a retrophrenologist upon you.
Okay, I think that's a good time to have a break. Also, I'm a bit thirsty, so need some water.
Okay.
Okay. No, just to say, Becky, there was an 80s children's cartoon show called The Raccoons, which is where
the Raccoons. I found that a really weird cartoon. I didn't.
Yeah, hence why I was like, most of us don't like that show.
I see now. Right? Yes, that was an American show as well, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, but it was an obscure pop culture reference.
Yeah.
Right. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay. Life would be simple in the forest except for Cyril's sneer. Nobody else is back here. Well, we have our one viewer as usual. How do you get to the chat on this thing again? Let's see what he's put. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Hello, Steve.
Yes, it would be my friend Stephen. Hello, Stephen. How are you, sir?
Steve.
This is your shout out. I saw him on Saturday at the wedding.
Oh, 2 viewers. Hello.
Hello, sir. Hope you're enjoying the the insanity that is Call of Cthulhu.
Well, it was a fumble.
It wouldn't be Call of Cthulhu without insanity.
Indeed.
Yes, he's enjoying things. That's good. Excellent. I'm just gonna drop out of YouTube though, because I tend to find myself, if I've got YouTube on at the same time, I tend to find myself looking at the chat rather than looking at what I'm doing.
Yes. And by the way, Phil, can you remove 5 sanity from your current score, please?
5. Oh, truth. Okay, done.
And bear in mind that if you lose any more sanity this session, then because of what you've experienced so far, you might experience some more awesome things.
That's probably the worst sanity roll I've ever done during a Cthulhu game.
You are now what's called you have underlying insanity. So basically, we're going to sort of move forward now to the car journey along the highway, going northeast towards Charlottesville, and you do come round. You feel, well, apart from the bang on the head, you feel okay. You recognize the 2 of your companions not as enemies or anything. You see there's like a little bit of blood on your fingers, but it's a very normal color. No, it's not North by Northwest, Ronnie. Too many movie references, God. So you do feel a bit shaken, but you feel more like you're back to normal.
At least that one I put in the chat rather than...
Oh, what the hell happened? My head's splitting.
Yeah, that would be me.
What did you do?
One minute you were fine, you were checking the trash bins at the back of the house, and next minute you
I don't want to think about that. No.
You're trying to wash off blood that wasn't there. You were saying the blood was blue rather than red.
I thought he was calling us royalty, like some kind of European.
No, my blood was the wrong color. It was like a blue-black color.
Whoa, like the blue on the porch?
Very similar to the blue on the porch.
Maybe it was blood. Maybe we still got some residual effect from the night of the tornado. I have to pause when I say tornado now because I keep nearly saying tentacle-nado.
I thought you were about to say...
Yeah, that's in session 5.
I thought you were about to say, because I keep pausing, because I keep wanting to say Sharknado. You were just... No, you were acting like a complete loon, and I'm afraid it was one of 2 things. I either had to inject you with morphia or smack you over the back of the head, and unfortunately I didn't have a hypodermic needle.
Well, it's a bit rough way of bringing me around. Oh, so where are we going then?
Well, funnily enough, we're going to a sanatorium.
Why? You're not... I'm fine now. I'm totally fine.
You're perfectly fine. We're just making sure. No, we are following up to see whether her boyfriend is actually still in the facility.
Oh,
and I wonder if he might know what those 2 places mean. Niagara and Antarctica.
3 places.
And the other one?
What other one?
Well, I found a...
Sorry, my sound went. I heard you say
I found a small piece of paper. I think, I don't know, maybe she was trying to get it down the sink, the plug hole of a sink in the bathroom. It had 3 words. It had Antarctica, and it had Niagara, and I can't find the words on the group chat. Jayson.
It's a big D word.
You know, Darby.
Let me see that bit of paper.
Yeah, I slowed down enough to actually hand over the paper. I'm not going...
Oh, my word. This is some kind of devil speech.
Yeah.
What is this? That's no place name. That's something satanic.
Del Dartungava.
Del Dartungava.
Is that in Mexico?
I think that's from the Necronomicon.
I think it's in Canada.
Don't you try to
Oh, it's a
pollute
French
my
word.
innocent Christian ears with that tongue. I
It's a
will not
French
have
word.
that word said out loud.
What, Canada?
Well, that too.
The comedy stylings of Call of Cthulhu. So I don't know whether there's any connection between that. When we get back to town, I'm going to hit the library. I want to find out more about this third place.
I don't think that's the place name. How could it be?
Well, given that the other two words are places, I'm taking a bit of a policeman's leap of logic and suggesting it might be another place.
Hmm.
That
In
don't
that case,
sound like
all you
no
need
place.
in that case, all you need is an atlas, and just look at the index.
Yes. Local library should have what we need. But first, a sanatorium. Yeah, continue on our way, Jayson.
Indeed. So the asylum is near to Charlottesville. It's a little bit out of town, and it's actually closer to you, so nice and convenient. But eventually, you take a right turn off the highway, down the beaten track a little bit, and you can see as you approach there are a couple of other parked vans there. You think they're sort of official vans. It's an asylum in that it has a little bit of a creepy feel to it. But when you go in, it seems actually quite advanced. It's got a fairly good atmosphere. There are sort of orderlies going around. It's well used. It seems quite hygienic as well, clean. There's that sort of disinfectant type smell you get in hospitals. And you approach the front desk, presumably to get Benjamin's room. Yep. So there's a lady who pretty much stops you straight away when you ask for Ben's room, and she says, "Oh, now I'm sorry, officer, but I can't take you to that room. It's off limits at the moment."
Why?
Well, I know it doesn't maybe sound very important to you, but we want to make sure that it's as calm in the room as possible before we get the next patient in order to stay. So there's a couple more hours until they arrive. We want to make sure it's in good condition, that we don't want sort of people snooping around in there.
Is the patient that we're looking for, is he here?
Well, no, I just said the next patient's on the way in 2 hours. Benjamin's been released for about a week now. No, actually, and she looks at the sort of calendar. About 2 weeks now.
2 weeks?
Standard procedure is for them to be released into some sort of halfway house or hostel. Do you have the address?
Yes, I do. Although I'm not sure who they were. These people. They gave me their names, obviously, but Ben had never mentioned them before. And she sort of gets down a clipboard, and she finds an address, and she points at it. It is a hostel. It's now. Let me just remind myself what it's called. Sorry. It's in a place just outside of Charlottesville called Willoughby.
Okay. This did Benjamin have his own room, or was he in a ward?
He had his own room. He started in a ward, as a lot of the other orderlies do.
Has anyone else taken that room after Benjamin's discharge?
Apart from this new patient that's on the way now, no.
Then I really would like to see the room.
What purpose do you have with Benjamin, sir?
Ongoing inquiries, the disappearance of a young lady, a former paramour.
Oh.
He may be completely innocent, but I'm at this early stage. I have to look far and wide, and I can't rule out the possibility, especially now that you've said that he's been released.
Well, I get what you're saying, but if someone is released from care, they have to go through various checks, and he passed all the checks. It would be strange of him now to suddenly revert back to how he used to be. But if you need to see the room, then okay, but don't take too long.
Thank you. I turn to Helen and Kyle and I say, stay here.
With all due respect, Sheriff, if there's any more of them little rodents, you're going to get yourself hurt, I say, pinching your cheek.
Yeah, I think we need to look around, Sheriff.
Yeah, here's the difference. I have this little thing called a badge that lets me go into official places like this and look around. If you start walking into this place, acting like you are members of the police, they may not let you back out.
Can't you deputize us in an emergency?
Yeah, but that's paperwork. Nurse, my two associates here will be joining us.
Fine, very well. But again, don't take too long. And she looks at a little watch on her breast there. There's about an hour 40 until he's due to arrive.
We should be in and out by then, don't worry.
Yeah, how big can the room be?
Should be a standard.
I still don't understand, though. There's nothing left in there that would be of any use to you.
Well, here's the thing, nurse. Here's the thing. I'm all about playing to our strengths. Now, you see, if someone walks into my sheriff's office with stomach cramps, I don't sit there and try and diagnose him because I don't have any medical training above sort of basic first aid. And so I expect when someone who isn't a police officer or a former detective like myself says there isn't anything in a room, I expect them to respect the fact that they're not investigators.
Well, anyway, I better get back to what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Hope you find what you're looking for.
Oh, I'm certainly going to. Note to self. Find something. Just so you can wave it in their face on the way out.
If there's anything there, we'll find it.
I don't care if there isn't anything there. I'm still going to wave something in her face as we walk out. Ha!
So you head to room D88. It's basically sort of a reinforced door, but it's perfectly fine to open, sort of, normal lock, that kind of thing. And an orderly sort of has a big bunch of keys, opens up the door, and
Thank you.
And you head in. Again, as the nurse described, it is very, very bare in here. There is a window looking out onto the fields, and there's a couple of houses dotted in the distance and a lake. Quite a pleasing view, actually. There's a bed on the right side. It does, you can see, have manacles, but at the minute they're sort of resting.
Yeah.
The floor is sort of checkered, almost like a chessboard, which you notice actually in this sort of section of the asylum, the whole floor is like that, and it makes sort of quite a lot of noise when you walk on it. There is also a desk as well, but that's completely stripped bare. Everything's been taken from it.
Okay. Given that, on the basis that I've managed to find one piece of paper in the most god unlikely place ever, i.e., under a bloody bath plug or sink plug, I'm going to give this room the full once over. I'm looking under the beds, under the desk. If there's drawers, I'm taking the drawers out and feeling under.
Take the the quilt out of the duvet, check inside the duvet, and then put the quilt back again and tuck it in neatly because I'm like that.
Yep.
Behind the desk as well. Anything there?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, you give this place a go over in the sort of tidiest way possible. There's a few things that you notice actually that made this room not quite right. The first thing is Dominic. Oh, actually, no, it would be Helen. Sorry, because you're sort of doing the bed and stuff. The one of the legs you notice it's just a little bit wonky, and you can see actually there's quite a sort of hard, dark sort of scraping on the floor, as if the bed's been moved really hard.
Sorry, I locked up. Something was wonky?
Yeah, so at the foot of the bed, one of the legs is a little bit wonky.
Okay.
You also see a dark scraping on the floor, as if the bed's been moved really suddenly.
I'm going to dismantle the bed leg.
Okay. It is metal, though, bear in mind.
Does it slot out?
No, it's as if it's sort of, you know, when metal's sort of a little bit weak, at a weak point, a certain amount of force has hit it.
Okay, is there any weapon welding or anything to unbolt?
Not in here. You need something like a hammer or something to get it off.
Okay. Well, where there's these drag marks on the floor, is that the floor loose, or does the bed move in a direction? Does it imply movement?
Yeah, definitely. So you think, judging from that, something has impacted that leg, and it's caused the bed to possibly move as well from it.
Something has impacted the leg?
Yeah, or impacted the bed by the leg, yeah.
Okay, so I wonder if this is signs of a struggle or signs of something hidden. So is there anything that would move in here that could knock the bed?
Well, you try sort of the bed yourself, and it's quite a sturdy bed. It would take a couple of strong men to lift it, certainly. Apart from perhaps the chair or the desk, although they seem sort of fairly neatly in place, there's nothing in here that could cause that much force.
So it looks like there's been signs of struggle in here.
Yep, definitely.
If I'm going to put a lot of weight on that corner of the bed. In fact, I'll get up on the corner of the bed and jump on it a few times. I want to see if that leg will take the weight.
Okay, can you make me a strength roll?
Bear with me whilst I use a trackpad. Oh my god. Probably not. Oh my god, I did. Yes, I passed. Okay,
so you do cause a couple of sort of impacts enough, so it weakens a bit more. But from the feel of it, you think it's going to be more than that caused this.
Okay, but my point is that somebody sat in this corner of the bed is likely to have broken it. This bed hasn't had much use since whatever struggle broke it. So
Yeah.
our last resident likely left with some act of violence before going, either from himself or to himself.
It's a workable theory.
Hmm.
I'm looking under the bed,
Careful,
looking
Helen,
for
jumping
looking
rope.
for grates, you know, the kind of air vent grate or anything. See if it's loose. Basically anything where someone might want to stash something they didn't want the general public to find.
Okay. So looking sort of under the bed, all around, sort of the rest, apart from where Helen was, there's nothing suspicious really. You do notice there is sort of a slightly loose tile, but after lifting it up, you realize, okay, it's just a little bit damaged. There's nothing hidden underneath it or anything, like a secret compartment or anything. It is what it is. But moving to Kyle, as you're sort of looking through the drawers, and you do a fairly thorough job. When you pull out the second drawer, you actually see something has been carved into the bottom of the drawer in the wood.
Oh, have a look at this, you two.
Have a look over.
Well, hold it up.
It's a map.
A map.
Ooh.
Do anyone recognise it?
There are a couple of places on there that indicate somewhere with a lot of snow.
Right.
How do you mean indicate? Like what? Mountain peaks or a word?
As in the names of certain places.
What names do we have on it?
I'm just looking. So there is, for example, the Ross Ice Shelf.
Roth ice shelf.
Ross, ROSS.
Ross Ice Shelf.
It's not loading for me. Just give me 2 secs. I'll get up a different one. There is also the quite well named, the Ronner Ice Shelf, Maitrey Station, Paradise Harbour. You notice there's actually a big cross right in the center.
Where's the cross nearest?
Yeah.
Well, it's slap bang in the middle of everything. It's sort of completely perpendicular.
All of those places. Ross Ice Shelf, Rona Ice Shelf, Maitrey Station and Paradise Harbour, yeah?
Well, they're all sort of dotted around this map. But you think that this sort of perpendicular it's more like a sort of a line to scale or for symmetry.
Okay. I will. Is it on a piece of paper or is it on the drawer itself?
No, carved into the drawer.
I don't think we can get out with the drawer under our coats, but
Yeah.
Has a pad.
Are we
take
are we,
some rubbings.
Are we talking sort of standard MDF flat pack here, or are we talking good old fashioned heavy oak drawer or what?
It's not like a really old heavy sort of wood, but it's obviously taken the carving okay, and it is in the bottom of the drawer.
Okay. I'm going to smack the bottom out of the drawer. We're going to take the bottom with us. Don't need to take the whole drawer. We just need to take the bottom of it.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Are we I mean, what kind of dimension are we talking with the drawer here? When I'm knocking out the bottom here, am I knocking out something that's like 4 foot fucking wide and
no,
2 inches long?
No, so The drawer itself, it's about 40 centimeters wide, that kind of size. So
Yeah, I can put that under my jacket.
well, wide, and then you've got the length, which I guess would, I don't know, about 50, 60.
Be a little snug, but we'll get it under the jacket.
It's snug.
Okay. Anything else in the room apart from that then? Nothing else in the other drawers?
No, nothing else that you can see.
And once I've banged that bottom out, I'll rephrase that. Once I've removed the bottom of the drawer, I'll place the drawer back in.
Okay.
This might sound like a dumb question, but did you take the handles off the drawer and check the screw holes?
No, I didn't. I don't have a screwdriver with me. I said pack my pockets.
You want to have a look?
Oh, I'm not strong enough to undo the handle, darling.
Just using fingers, will the handles undo?
So, sorry, you're just trying to twist it?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you give me a locksmith roll?
Okay.
Not technically opening locks, but similar sort of
Probably
motion.
the closest there is, isn't it? Yeah. What's this? Oh yes, that's a pass.
Okay. You sort of twist the drawer handle a bit, and actually you realise that the screws have been in the drawer for a while. So actually, if you jiggle it enough, it'll actually just slide off.
Okay, yeah, I think I can do this.
So you slide off the the drawer handle.
And check the screw hole.
Is there anything in there? If I'm looking down, can't see anything.
So actually, yes, you can.
Oh.
You can see some more papers.
Ooh.
Oh, there might be something here. Have you got a penknife or something, Sheriff? And I'll just use the tip and see if I can just lever that paper out.
Okay. So, cut long story short, you managed to carefully lever it out. Bear in mind, don't forget to tick any skill that you've passed on. Just a reminder. You get the papers out. These are kind of journal papers, if you will. Again, they've been folded up to fit into the gap. But when you unravel them, there's sort of 3-4 small sheets that have been torn out of a journal.
I'll try and flatten them out on the desk.
There's a couple that are maps as well. One of them being of one of the ice sheafs, the Ronnie ice sheaf. And it's sort of expedition writings. So sort of, day 25, we reached the shelf. Did I actually say ice sheaf? I didn't I? The ice shelf.
Yes.
And this is what we saw. The views are amazing. Can't believe we finally reached this place after all this time.
Yeah, we'll take those and we'll have a proper good look at them in the library because that's where we're going next.
Okay.
However,
so do you think this room has anything else hidden before we?
Well, there's the curtain poles.
That's a good idea. I'll have one of those down.
Go on, have a doctor.
You don't find anything in the curtain poles.
Behind the skirting boards?
Nope, behind the skirting boards.
Are there any loose tiles on the floor? Any of this black and white tile?
Yeah, there's one, but there was nothing underneath it.
Yeah, apart from the one that you found.
The
Basically,
light fittings?
Basically, I'll say that you do a really thorough search of the room. There's nothing else significant that you can find in here.
Right. Those papers you just found, I would like to borrow them, please, for a few moments.
I'll hand them over to the sheriff. There you go,
Yeah.
Sheriff.
I have them sort of folded like that. I'm holding them in my hand. As we leave.
You could wave them at the nurse.
Absolutely. You're damn right. As we leave, we say, "Thank you, nurse." Ha!
Oh, you're welcome. And by the way, if you ever do see the pastors, do let them know that I've said hi.
The
The
who?
pastors?
Oh.
Well, yes, I assumed you knew of them.
Oh, let's have an acquaintance. Yes. Sorry, nurse. It's a slight bit of detail there that I feel I should be informed of. Which pastors are these? Can you give me their names?
Well,
In fact, you should have their names in the records there, please.
well, I was saying about them before. They came and they released him.
Which
do you have a copy?
pastors would that be?
I'd like a copy of the release form, please.
Sure, okay. And you look at the names. There's 3 of them. 2 of them you recognize as Martin Best and Joshua Schreiber. The other one you don't recognize. The other name is Jerry Falwell. But I wondered if you'd recognize him out of character.
He was bloody famous.
Does sound familiar.
In fact, I would go to the point of saying at that point in American history, he was fucking infamous.
Well, I'm playing it in the scenario that he's not really famous, but maybe you know of him at this point.
I mean, his fights with Larry Flint alone were huge. Because Larry Flint and Hustler magazine were all over him at this point. With their infamous Campari ad parody.
I think they said they were called the Moral Majority. Yeah, Moral Majority. That's it. Never heard of them before that, but
I think I want to get acquainted with these gentlemen. Yes. Thank you very much. You were most enlightening. A copy of the release form?
Yeah, so she gives it to you.
Thank you very much. If you think of anything else that you feel that I should know, please don't hesitate to call. I get a piece of paper and I put down the sheriff office number.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, you take a quick look at the release form and you see the 3 signatures next to Falwell's signature as well. You can see sort of a handwritten scroll of the Moral Majority logo, like the insignia.
Do you have a photostatic copy machine?
We've got an old one. Sometimes it works.
I would like a copy of this, please, for my records.
Okay. And she sort of gives it a kick a couple of times. Damn machine never works when I want it to. But
take the paper tray, put it back out and in again. That's how you do it.
Oh, yes, that's right. I sometimes blow on it as well. And yeah, eventually, after a few...
Never have it in front of a window.
There is no window in sort of the back bit of the office.
Doesn't stop the advice from coming. This is the era when photocopies were still around, and yes, that's what people used to do, shit like that, to get the damn things to work. Yeah.
It just got to the point I used to just open up the tray and then put it back down again and hope that it would work. But yeah.
People came up with all sorts of crazy rituals believing it helped. Nothing did.
I'm pretty sure it predates computers with the turn it off and turn it back on again.
Yeah, but
Because
that works sometimes.
We seem to think that automatically cleared paper jams. It's quite, you know. Anyway, armed with that new information and a copy of photocopy of the release form, I am heading to the car.
Okay.
Yes, I'm using my commanding deep voice now. We're going to have to divide.
Well, I have to say, if I didn't know better, I would say that there's some kind of Christian conspiracy going on here.
Yeah.
That might explain why there was that devil word next to Antarctica and Niagara.
We're going to have to divide and conquer here. I'd like you two, please to go to the library.
Wait.
Check out that ungodly name. Check out this map. See if it is a map of somewhere specific. Use the place names as a binder. I'm going to have to talk to these two ministers who are currently looking for our missing lady.
Great idea, Sheriff, except that we all came in your car, and right now we're in Charlottesville, and we're quite near the Willoughby hostel where he was released to. I suggest we check in there on the way back. And incidentally, I refuse to look up no devil word.
Well, that makes sense, Sheriff. We should check that out.
Yes, you're quite right.
I don't mean to do your job for you.
No.
Brackets, I totally do. Close bracket.
But
okay, so to the address in Willoughby.
Yes.
So fairly easy to find. It's sort of a small hostel of about 6 rooms, and it's quite a quiet suburb as well. It's near a lovely little creek called Moores Creek, actually, and when you get in and ask about the room, the attendant says that it was checked out about a week ago.
Did you leave a forwarding address?
No, they just up and left.
They?
Yeah, there were 4 men.
And this was in a room that sleeps how many?
Oh, well, they're all hostel rooms, so there's several bunk beds. They took one of the larger rooms.
Right, I see.
What did these men...
stuff going on in my hostel.
What did these men look like? Can you describe them? Maybe 1 or 2 of them?
Yes. Well, one of them, he looked almost like he'd come out of hospital or something, a little bit sedated, maybe. Didn't look too good. But the other 2, other 3, they were pretty well dressed. All wearing suits. One of them had a little emblem on. I can't quite remember what it looked like. I think it said an M on it.
Did you hear their names at all? Was one called Ben, one called Joshua, one called Martin, and one called Jerry?
Oh, well, yes, I've got them in the signing register here.
Yeah, have a look in. Are they all present and correct?
Yep, they've all been written in by one person, and they're all signed in and signed out.
Okay, so they left a week ago in their forwarding address. Well, we know where 2 of them are.
Yeah, which is I'm just about to zero in on them. I'm a little concerned.
Perhaps we should get on the radio, Sheriff.
I am happy with the idea of using the radio, except for the fact that I gave one of my deputies strict instructions to keep Pastor Best right at his side. which means if we radio, they're going to hear it.
Well, we could contrive a story for the deputy to bring the pastor somewhere.
I get on the radio.
Who are you radioing to again? Sorry.
I'm going to radio Daniels.
Okay. Is this the one in your car?
The radio in the car, yeah.
Okay, because I was just thinking about that. Because of the length of distance we're talking about here, would it be sort of correct to say that you would need to sort of get a decent signal in order to actually get
they have a decent range. That you'd still be able, unless you start running out of really out of the county and so on. You'd still get the range. I mean, it might be a little fainter than when you're right up there.
Well, 3 miles. We're talking way more than 3 miles here.
That's handheld.
Yeah, the car would be longer. I mean, it might be a slightly quieter signal, but we'd still, unless we were way, way out in the sticks.
Well, put it this way: Charlottesville is 30 miles away from Nellisford.
If it's cloudy, it will definitely work.
Okay. All right. In that case, I will say that you do get through to a rather frantic sounding Daniels, saying, "Oh, thank God! Where the fuck have you been, sir? I've been trying to reach you for hours."
On inquiries, what's up?
Sod the inquiries, or rather, hang the inquiries, whatever Americans say.
Damn the inquiries.
The two pastors, they... it's kind of hard to say without you laughing at me, sir, but they've gone, they've vanished.
Daniels, trust me when I tell you at this point, given the state of the investigation, I am not laughing finding out those preachers are gone. Where were they seen last? And by whom?
I tried to stop them, sir. I really did. But they both held their hands out towards me. And I felt almost like this huge electric shock go through my body. And I couldn't move or anything. It was so painful. I sort of came round. I don't know how late it was. Maybe 15 minutes later. Someone said that they'd been spotted running down towards a car and then got in. It was heading southwest down the highway.
Anyone in pursuit?
We did get someone on it eventually, but they'd abandoned the car.
Right, listen up. Listen up. I want you to get to the office now. I want you to raise an APB, give a full description to every local and state department going. Get state police on it. Get local law enforcement in every county on it. I want a description out. I want those men found.
Okay.
We are looking at possible abduction, maybe murder.
Oh,
I want them found.
Shit, I'll get on it right away then, sir.
Now, not to do your job for you, Sheriff, but it occurs to me that we have another line of inquiry in locating these men, and that be with the church themselves. So, do we know what denomination the moral majority are?
No. We're going back
to... Why don't we ask a pastor?
Yeah, it must be
we're going back to our town. We'll ask our pastor. We still need to hit the library.
Well, as much as I've sat through so many of Pastor Burnett's sermons, it does occur to me that one of those men, Joshua Schreiber, was there to visit him.
Yes. Which makes him a person of interest, which makes it all the more important that we speak to him. I'm putting literally, we're driving back to the home, back to town, our town.
Okay, where were you thinking of heading first then? Because you had a few ideas there.
Yeah, I want to drop Helen and Kyle off at the library.
I'm telling you, I'm not looking up no devil word.
Well,
you
Kyle can look up the devil word for you. It's just, it's a thing. I'm going to have a nice heart-to-heart with my local pastor, which may involve police sedation.
I'm going to immediately leave the library, head back to the store, pick up my pickup truck, get my the CB radio I took of CB Daniels that I've not returned, so I can listen to the police radio calls, and I'm going to get on the highway. You're welcome to come with me, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll stay at the library, and I will check out these names actually. But once you've got the pickup, you can come by and pick me up then. I'll check them out first while you're doing that.
Just grab all the books you can. I'll be back before you know it.
Will do.
Okay. Right, since we're splitting the party, why don't we go for Carl first, since he's at the library?
Okay.
So, yeah, there's two things really that are sort of on your mind. There is that sort of devil word, but then there's also the map. I'm assuming that you want to maybe do a little bit more research on.
Yeah, I'm just going to be looking for a sort of like a vague outline of the map. So
Yeah.
Not know where it is offhand.
Okay, so can you make me a library use roll, please?
I will do a library use. And that's a 20.
Sorry, you got 20.
20. I missed it by 5. Can I push that roll?
Yeah, or
use luck.
Yes, I'm going to luck. Use 5 luck.
Spend your luck. Spend your luck. Spend your luck.
I have. I've spent 5 points of luck.
So is that as an extreme roll, a hard roll?
That's just a pass.
Oh, pass. Okay, fair enough. Okay, yep. So, firstly, with the map, that's actually pretty easy to pinpoint. You sort of start going, you're trying to find like a section in the library on map locations, but then it suddenly hits you. There's a globe on the table, and it's tilted on its axis, and you can see the outline of Antarctica, and it matches the map in the drawer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that. And I'll pull out an atlas, and when I find these places on the atlas, I'll just rip those pages out. Okay.
As for this devil word, this is proving quite difficult for you. You actually spend an hour or two going through different sort of languages, maybe trying to match up a couple of phonetics. Do you know any foreign languages?
Polish.
You know Polish. Okay. Well, it's certainly not Polish. You don't recognize it as anything even remotely Slavic. But as you're sort of combing over different books, somebody actually notices you doing this and says, anything I can help with? And you notice it to be the gardener who attends to the church gardens.
Oh, yeah. Hello. I'm looking for a word. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I think it's a place. Someone mentioned it, and it just piqued my interest, and I thought I'd look it up.
Well, I'll try my best. I'm always looking for new places to mine to, and you see he's got like a book on the Gobi Desert.
So I'll tell him where it is. I'll tell him the word.
Oh, now that sounds not Norwegian. maybe Faroe Islands. Let me look at the spelling of that.
So I'll pass him a slip of paper. Any ideas? Where would the Faroe Islands be? Is that something to do with Egypt and Pharaohs?
Oh, no, not the Faroe Islands. The Faroe Islands.
Faroe Islands.
They're a small island way north.
Okay.
Maybe somewhere around there, or perhaps. Oh, it could be. Yes, maybe it's Icelandic.
Icelandic,
yes. I don't recognize it as a place, but then I don't know Icelandic that well. Or I don't know the place anyway that well. All I know is that it's full of hot springs.
I'll start flipping through the atlas and try and find Iceland.
And in fact, eventually, after going through it, you do find a small town. There are quite a lot of small towns in Iceland called Dardungongfer. And it does, with the brief description, it does have a rather massive hot spring.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, I'll rip that page out as well. I'll put those books back.
Okay. Now, I believe, did you want to meet up with Helen?
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna meet up with her.
It was free, yes. Okay, so why don't we move to that next then? So you meet up with Helen in the car. Now, what are you trying to do in terms of...
I was considering myself in hot pursuit of these pastas.
Okay.
Oh, right then. In that case, I would... Oh, that's quite difficult then, because you've been there a couple of hours.
Yeah, I've missed it then. I've missed catching up with Helen.
Perhaps then you go to meet up with the sheriff, because you sort of know where you're going. All right. But I'm still going to do the scene first with Helen in hot pursuit. Or maybe you're in hot pursuit. But basically, you thunder down the highway. You keep track of what the police are saying on the radio. And after maybe half an hour, you're getting signs that they might have found a location where the car has been abandoned. And sure enough, you do find that you actually get to the car itself. It is parked just up the main entrance of the mountain resort called Winter Green. It's just outside of Nellisford. As you know, it's been closed for a good month or two. There have been a couple of unsafe incidents happen there. So at the minute, it's not in use.
Okay. Is the car unlocked?
The car is not unlocked.
Is locked. Right. Sorry. Double bloody negatives. All right. Well, in that case, I'll just have a quick little look inside, see if I can see anything. Look around and smash the rear offside window.
Okay. Yeah, so it's sort of quite a nice design inside, sort of leather seats.
I'm going for the glove box and the sun visors and the door pockets.
Okay, so the glove compartment is locked.
Force it open. I mean, the car locks.
Yep, that's fine. So you force it open, and immediately you see this dark light. Can you make me a sanity roll, please?
Oh, I passed.
Okay. So you kind of squint briefly as you see this light, but it does vanish almost immediately. You see what appears to be a ring. And it looks very similar to Katie's. Not quite the same when you examine it, but it's close.
Okay, I shall get a bit of rag or tissue or something, and I shall pick that up, fold it up. I'm not going to study it. I don't want no tornado. And I shall pocket it.
Okay. Apart from that, there's not really much else in the car. Do you check the boot?
Okay. Yes, I was going to say I'll pop the boot and have a look, and
Okay.
the bonnet.
Okay. Nothing out of ordinary in the bonnet. Although there is sort of a swirling, like almost like a mist as you open it, which is a little bit strange. But you just kind of waft it away a bit. As for the boot, you can see that there was some rope in there, possibly for restraining. There are also what you think are robes. As you lift them out, they do appear to be sort of, the garb that a priest would wear, but it's nothing specific that you recognize.
Is it hooded?
It is hooded.
I'm going to grab that.
Okay.
Might come in handy. And then I'm going to take my car back a bit, hide it in some trees, put on the robe with the hood, and walk up towards the manor.
Manor?
Sorry, the resort.
Okay, that's fine, but bear in mind, you've got maybe a little bit of an idea, but it's a big resort. There's like several areas. It's not like a little building or anything. There's like a spa. There's loads of different slopes.
Okay,
so quite a big area.
In that case, I'm going to put the hooded robe so they see me first, and I'll drive up.
Okay. That is absolutely fine. So we're going to move now to Dominic and Kyle once they've met up. And you guys, are you just going straight to see the pastor first of all?
Yeah.
Okay. So you head up to the church, and you do find him actually in the back. He appears to be in the middle of something, as if he's packing or sorting stuff out, and he looks quite sort of startled, like he jumps when he sees you, and he says, "Oh, Sheriff, I didn't realize you were back already."
Well, what can I say? I'm the person you never see coming.
Oh well.
Are you busy?
Well, yes, a little bit. With the meeting postponed and everything, I thought I'd get on with some stuff that the organ loft in particular needs a right sorting out. But what can I do for you?
Well, I mean, the hither and thither that you were doing there, it almost looked like you were packing, going somewhere interesting.
Well, no, I'm not packing per se. Maybe just.
No, it looked like you were packing per suitcase.
It does look awfully like packing, doesn't it?
There is like a small suitcase. Yeah, you think maybe suitable for a couple of days away. Well, you know, I'm just a little bit concerned with the snow coming, and that this search party is going to go on as well for a long time. So
yes, now you see a rather cynical detective former person like myself might see someone who, in the middle of a missing persons inquiry, is packing to get away from it all as somewhat suspicious.
Now, look, I didn't have anything to do with that.
Badge talking. Collar gets to shut up just now. This badge also is a little concerned, adding to that, when two of your brethren suddenly up sticks and run.
They've what?
They've gone like a fart in the wind. It's not on.
Can you make me a psychology roll?
Oh, yeah. Right, Ron. You put points in this, don't fail, you know. I rolled 1.
Oh, okay. You know from the reaction he gave when you said that, it's almost like relief. He's relieved that they've run off, as if they're out of my personal space. He sort of just relaxed a little bit, body language. You see he's got some papers in his hand, and he sort of just relaxes the hold on them a little bit.
Do you know that old phrase that a picture says 1,000 words?
Well, yes, and he sort of turns around and there's a picture of Mary in the background. Yes, I suppose it does.
Yes. Well, I've just watched your body react to my last sentence there, and you weren't saying 1,000 words. You just wrote an entire fucking novel that would make War and Peace look like...
Now, Sheriff, I know you're doing an investigation, but please can we refrain from such language in a house of God?
Yeah. Sit down, Bradley.
It's Burnett.
It's gonna be, well, sit down.
He sort of reluctantly sits down. He's still got his papers in his hand. Sort of
Right.
lays them on his lap, face down.
Tell me about your two brethren.
Well,
And please do not use the phrase "they are not really my brethren."
well, no, I've known them for a couple of years now. We've been trying to get this together for some time, collaborating, getting the small towns more tightly knit. There's a lot of scattered towns in Virginia, and they all seem separated out. And they've created this new group.
Would that be the moral majority?
Yes, that's right. And
They're little pins with M's on them.
Well, yes, but their main motives are to bring people together in tradition and family.
Are you entirely sure about that?
Well,
yeah, I'm
yes.
finding their motivations somewhat suspicious given the sort of information we've been learning in the last couple of hours. Trust me, Pastor, I think you could do them under the Trades Description Act because I don't think they're either moral or the majority.
Well, your opinions, but I've known them for a couple of years, as I said, and they've been good people. And
yeah,
you rolled a critical. I'll say that you can tell he's lying. He's
yeah.
trying to sort of discreetly, but not to you. He's trying to sort of move the papers away from him, maybe sort of get under a suitcase so you can forget about them.
Oh,
Pastor, come on. You see, when you try and surreptitiously move papers like that so I don't see them, you're just showing me that I need to see them. Hand them over.
What are you going to do? Shoot me?
Trust me, this may be a house of God, but I am more than capable of whipping you.
yeah, you'll certainly give you a good clock across the head with the butt of the gun.
And he's a man who knows, and he wasn't even a suspect.
Okay, look, they taught me into this, right? And he gets the papers out and gives them to you. There's more in there if you need them.
Oh, I probably will.
I didn't want to be involved in this at all.
Well, why don't you just tell us what it's about?
Because of my reputation as your pastor.
Pastor, I can absolutely assure you your reputation is shot. Right now. Now, whether you remain unshot is going to be determined in the next 5 minutes, depending on your answers.
You sort of see quite a lot of sweat coming down his brow. You have a look at the papers, and basically, it sort of you have to sort of read it carefully to work it out. But they're basically sort of false records. It's sort of with the way everything in terms of money is laid out as well. Essentially, he would be taking more from the church, possibly for his own gain. You're not sure. But it adds up to about $10,000.
Right. At the moment, I have absolute guaranteed proof of fraud, which the courts round here will probably give you a light slap of the wrist and send you on your merry way. The local populace round here, when they hear that you've been bilking them and pocketing it for yourself, are liable to lynch you, and I'm not really in the mood to stop them. Please convince me otherwise.
Okay, all right. Look. I didn't think that they would go so quickly, but I think I know where they might be.
At this point, I'd sort of sit back, relaxed, but I sort of gently drum the butt of the revolver. Lots of detail.
Well, I don't know why they would go there. It would be a very odd place for them to go, but I've heard them talking about it as a place, a safe haven, they called it. The resort down the road, Wintergreen.
Safe haven for what?
They never said. It did seem a little strange. We don't normally use the word haven in Christianity, but you know, it has obvious meaning behind it. It's somewhere safe and protection, I suppose. Or
okay, I radio for one of my deputies, not Daniel's, because he's still feeling the pinch.
Yeah. Okay. So you get another deputy. His name is Pearson.
Pearson, I need you to come to the church straight away.
Yes, sir. What do I need to bring anything?
Just your cuffs.
Okay. He sounds a little bit excited, like he's never done an arrest before. He's quite a new one.
Right. As soon as he arrives.
Yeah. Takes sort of 6-7 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, Deputy Pearson, I want you to place the pastor under arrest for fraud. Also on suspicion of kidnapping. These papers, and I get all the papers. Take those back with you. I want Daniels to log them in as evidence. Put him in a cell, let him sweat overnight.
Pearson looks pretty gobsmacked, as if the pastor's done all of that, but then realizes that you're in charge. He's like, right, yeah, yes, sir. And puts the cuffs on him. Come on, Father, this way.
Father, my ass. Get him in there. I'm heading back to the station as well.
Mm-hmm.
Actually. At this point, I'm going to do what every good small sheriff's office at the time did have, which was the small cache where they've actually got the rifles.
Mm-hmm.
The nice sporting rifles, which look a hell of a lot like M16s. But I'm getting the shotguns out at this point.
Okay. As you do that, you hear the sound of, the cell slamming. And then a couple of seconds later, you hear the sound of Pearson go, Sheriff, are you there?
I'm here.
Can you come in here a minute?
Okay, I'll go through.
As soon as you head into the section of the cells, you see the hole in the wall that was there that dreadful night. Exactly the same sort of shape, cracks and all that. But looking through it, even from where you are, which is like a couple of meters away, you see sort of a snowy landscape, and you see, almost like you're looking mostly down, you see a lone figure near a car in some kind of robe.
Do I recognize the figure at all, or is it too far away?
They've got their back with the hood up, so you don't know who it is.
Right, get the pastor out of that flipping place. I'm not having him walk through that bloody hole.
Can you make me a sanity roll, please?
Really don't want to.
I'm not asking, I'm telling you in the nicest possible way.
Oh, do your worst.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you get quite shaken by this, but you only lose 1 sanity point. The landscape is so tranquil. There's something about it that you can detach from it, as if it's not too bad. But it is the weirdest thing about it is the perspective. It's as if you're looking down at something, like you're up in the air, but obviously you're not. You're on the ground. You're in a cell. You're in your own jail. How is that even possible?
Has someone got a movie projector in here?
No.
Right, get him the fuck out. Get him in my office.
But okay. All right. So someone gets him out, puts him in the office. Are you pointing at him?
No, I'm pointing it at the whole.
Okay.
I'm sort of retreating backwards, as organized retreat, tactical retreat.
Okay. The hole doesn't change at all. You do feel a bit cold though, like you're there outside.
Bloody hell! Right. Do I recognize the area at all, or is it just too samey with the snow and everything?
Well, maybe a spot hidden roll and go a little closer. Come closer.
Well, I made it. Wasn't a hard or an extreme or anything. I made my roll though.
Okay. So it's quite difficult because of the snow, but you think it's the start of a large driveway, and giving an educated guess, the only way with a driveway or a path that big around here is the resort.
Okay, we're gonna have to head there. Right, he doesn't leave. I want one person not going near it, thank you very much, but keeping an eye on that thing. Let me know if it gets any bigger or worse, and you better put a jacket on. It's bloody cold. Right, come on you, Kyle. Let's go to the resort.
What's at the resort?
Well, answers, I'm hoping, but I'm taking these because just in case we have to ask more in-depth questions.
Okay.
See, this is my normal sedative, and these are my supersized sedatives.
Now, Helen, remind me, were you still in the car when you went over the brow, or did you decide to take a little walk?
I took my own car.
I didn't hear the last word. Sorry, you cut out.
I took my own car.
Is it your own car? Okay. So what I'll say is, as the scene comes to an end, the sheriff's vehicle comes in, and you can see the car further up, which is yours, of course, Helen. And as you look over the sort of huge landscape of this resort, and the snow starts coming down a little heavier, I will end the session.
Darn. Ah. Shit. Oh, fuck. I think things are about to get... Yeah. No. My character doesn't want to die.
You're driving in the wrong direction then.
Well, thank you very much, Ben.
Yes, that was a lot of fun, Jayson. Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Very much so.
Again with luck, I still can't remember if it's every session or not. But I know with the others, it's not every session. Yes, it's after each session of play. So feel free to do an improvement roll on your luck.
So I roll under it
Over it.
or over it? Over it.
Yeah.
Right.
Nick, roll over. Then
Oh God, no.
You roll
No, I
d10.
didn't pass the first step. That's why I couldn't remember.
Ah.
Yeah, it's that whole idea of the better you are at something, the less chance you'll ever have of actually improving upon it.
Yeah, missed the luck roll. Are we rolling skills this time or
Nope.
no?
It's not a once per session thing. That's kind of once per chapter, if you will.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was interesting, considering I didn't use any of the maps on actually loader, but I'll save this for later. But yes, I'm going to stop the broadcast now. So thanks, Steve, for watching and for you guys for playing. Hope
See you later, Steve.
I'll see you next time, next
Bye,
week.
Steve.
Bye.